We finally got this thing running, and I just called Aaron to let him know this thing's ready, and to our surprise, he wants to come over immediately to check this thing out and to test drive. And we are scared to death because we've yet to have this thing on the road even for 1 second. We're confident because it's running so well, and we don't have any leaks at this time, and I think we're going to be okay suspension-wise just so he can get on this test drive. But this thing has not been on the road for even 1 second. So we are freaked out. He's going to be here shortly, probably within the hour. So these guys are back here scrambling right now, doing the final touches, cleaning up a few things, and we're both hoping and praying that not only did we have a great reception and he finds it visually attractive, that it actually performs on the road. So we are freaked out. My fingers are crossed as we speak. Our biggest concern is forementioned with the air-to-fuel ratio, and so we don't know what's going to happen. We'll just have to find out when he gets here.
Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me.
So really, really interesting year for the Snowball this year. The Great Lakes Raptor excursion group. Luckily, there was a lot of familiar faces from our group and a lot of the same folks that we were accustomed to seeing from previous events in the past. We were in Team Delta, and Team Delta is the dirty stepchild of all the groups. They usually demote the people to Team Delta, or the new guys go to Team Delta, but we love being on Team Delta. Team Delta is where all the fun is. And there's some really good trucks in Team Delta, some really good builders. And there's a guy there, it's a nice truck, with roll cage, and some other guys have some really nice suspension setups. And there's just some guys who've really invested a lot in their trucks. And there's some wild men on our crew too that really know how to push their trucks hard and like to ramp their trucks. So we're amongst good company. The group comprises of a Chase in the lead, and then everyone in between. And that in our group was Team Delta. Everyone's got a interesting, beautiful truck out there. And so when you first pull up, everyone's gawking at everyone's trucks. And one's not much more special than the other at first glance. But as you get to spend some time with the trucks, you really get to see how each truck is really individualized. That's what's so special about the Ford Raptor. Going down the road and buying off the lot, it kind of seems like it's plain and not able to be individualized. But when you go to these events, you can truly tell that these trucks are screaming personality. Not just personality for the truck itself, but the personality of the driver or the owner of the truck. There's some crazy trucks up there, purple trucks, yellow trucks, glitter bomb trucks. Some of these guys just go crazy with color and with style and with suspension designs and setups. But all in all, the truck was very well received. Everyone thought it was just gorgeous, and everyone eventually started to dub the truck a Big Red, because that's what it was. This truck is lifted and is sitting about almost 6 inches taller than all the other trucks. We have the biggest wheels out of all the other trucks in our group. And we're able to smash through and get ourselves into and out of problems that a lot of those trucks can't get themselves in and out of. The conditions up there this year were very treacherous. Normally we have a lot more snowfall. When we got up there, this was ice. Everywhere was ice. We had no snow, so everyone was treading very carefully. We shared parts with our group. We were in some text messages we were able to share with them, like our finishing process of getting the truck ready. And so we were sharing some of the parts of the engine and stuff, and we were sharing some of the final moments of us completing the truck, and everyone's trying to get finished and get ready to come, and we didn't get much reception from our messages because everyone's just so busy and oh, these guys don't really care about our truck so much. But when we got to the event, everyone started to thank us for sharing the pictures and for sharing the build and for being open about our process and the things we were doing with the truck. And we had several people walk up to us and be like, man, thank you for sharing those pictures and showing us what you're doing with the motor. And we really got to sit and quite a few people come up to us and we got a chance to do walk arounds and share what we did with the vehicle and share all the heartaches with the parts and all the drama of not getting the motor in time and all this and that. And everyone was just super receptive. First day we treated very lightly just because of weather conditions and ground and road conditions, and the group in a whole just wanted to play it safe. But the second day we wanted to push it a little bit harder. We finally got to a place where there was some good snow on the ground, and Aaron got an opportunity to really push this truck hard. And we finally got a chance to hear this thing perform. It was ferociously loud and people could hear us coming from a mile away, but we didn't have an opportunity to really let this thing start hooking in and pushing itself down the road because we just simply didn't have the traction. When we finally got up to this area called dish snow. Dish snow is a very challenging area to cross. And usually it takes hours or almost a whole day to cross because the snow falls so heavy and it's usually a trail you have to break. But because of the conditions were so light, there was only 4 to 6 inches of snow on that trail. So we were able to conquer that trail. We pushed that trail harder than you could ever push it. I mean, we were aggressively taking that trail on as hard as we possibly could. And at the end of that trail, we suffered an axle failure. We had an axle explode on us. Unbeknownst to us, because we just pulled off the trail and we were just done with the trail and we didn't realize the axle was broke at that time until we got out on the road. And then the axle, we realized the axle was broken. Not only did we break an axle, we also broke a brake line. So we were out brakes and we were without an axle. And we had some extra axles with us, thank goodness, but we had no extra brake components. So luckily we were all going to lunch down the way. We were able to all team up together, and then everyone's so helpful on our team. They all showed up with extra parts, extra brake components, extra brake hoses. Everyone was there to assist. And we were able to change out that axle and get those brakes straightened up in less than 35 minutes with the help of Team Delta. And so it's this incredible group of guys to help us get that back together. And then the following day, we were lucky enough to go back out to dish snow, and we did the same thing. We fractured an axle on the other side, and same situation, same scenario. Those guys came to bear and helped us get through that and get that truck back together so we could all enjoy ourselves. And luckily, we didn't cause them any time and really screw up anybody's day, and was able to get that truck back in the road. And we only had one other little problem with a small power steering leak. A big AN fitting on the pump came loose, and I was able to tighten that up, and no issues there. So just absolute stellar performance. Axles are known to break, and especially on lifted trucks, so we weren't too surprised there. And the performance we just couldn't be happier with. So every time I accept a project, I always do it so gung-hoingly. I always tell myself, there's nothing stopping me, and it's right in front of me, and I can do it. And there's an opportunity for me to complete. But the moment that project's accepted, then the fear sets in. Then the reality's there, and I've written this check that I have to cash. And so, looking back on this whole project as a whole now, it's just been a whirlwind. A moment of success and a triumphant and victorious moment, but also a very difficult and strenuous time for us at the shop and for myself personally to make this project get completed. We were under an incredibly tight deadline, which was initially at about 40 days and 40 nights to complete this before the event. And we were struggling with parts and components and some engineering choices. And we had struggled with some certain choices we had made that had cost us some time and really put us in a situation where we were up against the gun at every single moment. And then some personal things that started to affect me. My wife fell ill and was hospitalized for over 4 weeks during this time, and my grandfather, who I'm very close and is a dear founder of the shop, Donald Roach, had passed during this time, and I was taking him to the hospital and getting him to and from when he was falling ill during this whole process. So losing my grandfather and the fear of my wife falling more ill in the hospital had aided to some strenuous and very stressful emotions through this build. Being able to successfully complete this project and bring it to fruition while being combated with all these personal and business issues was just an incredible thing for me, and I think something I'm very proud of. As your passion starts to navigate and forge you through a lot of these obstacles and these fears, and that starts to peel away. And when it's starting to peel away, you're actually overcoming. And those moments of overcoming is actually where success lies. Success is right there in that moment of overcoming. It's just that, it's right in the summit, you know, right when the Sherpa gets you to the top and everyone's exhausted and you can barely breathe. That's the victory moment. It's right there. You know, you've been up against the fear of getting up there and the chances of encountering death to reach the summit. And the moment you're finally there, you're absolutely exhausted, but you've done it. And you know, looking back on this project, and you know, I feel tremendously proud, and I know I succeeded. And I know there's things that I had to subjugate, and I know there's things that I had to put to the side to be successful. And I think that's the greatest gift of success, really, is that it reinforces your passions and it reinforces your ability to manage the things that really scare you. And I hope that this project and us sharing this project with others maybe extends that gift to someone else, you know, that they may say, hey, you know, this is super tough, but if I just dig in and really focus on what I believe in, love in, and in my skills and my craft and my passions, I will succeed. I will overcome, and nothing is stopping me.